In search for a partner, many singles have tried different things and aided us to get the attention of someone who would be able to love them. The desire to quench this loneliness has made them make several mistakes that have blocked their God-ordained spouse from coming into their life or would chase them from their life. Here are some of the mistakes to avoid when searching or single that would block your God-ordained spouse. Number 1, having the wrong attitude. Attitude has to do with your character in general, how you relate to people, how you talk to people around. But for the sake of this write-up, I want to concentrate more on how you speak to people, your manners of approach. Many singles today have this problem, and also a common mistake that they make that just instantly qualifies them as having a bad attitude, or others simply just classify you as a bad person, even though they're just meeting them for the first time. Apart from just the sake of your spouse, you need to have a good manner of approach to draw the right people to you. Many great people with great potentials have lost great opportunities because of the way they speak to people around. The Word of God says in Colossians chapter 4 verse 5 to 6, "Behave yourselves wisely, living prudently and not with discretion in your relations with those of the outside world, making the very most of the time and seizing or buying up the opportunity. Let your speech at all times be gracious, pleasant and winsome, seasoned, as it were, with salt, so that you may never be at a loss, to know how you ought to answer anyone who puts a question to you." One of the quickest ways to block your God-ordained spouse from coming to you or into your life is the way that you speak. He or she might just be standing next to you and you would not know, and if they have any intention of making a move, your speech would just turn them off immediately. As believers, your speech is to be gracious and seasoned with salt. Salt gives taste to food, so when they listen to the way you speak with respect and no harsh words, you only make them come closer. So if you have been harsh with your words, it is time to get it right if you want to move from this level to the next. God is only going to allow them to get to you when you have learned this phase of refining your tongue. Number 2, marrying outside the will of God. Because singles are no longer patient and are in a hurry, they just run ahead and marry anyone who they think is the Mr. Right or Mrs. Right for now. They are no longer willing to pray and wait for God to confirm if this is the right choice. They no longer see being a believer as a criterion for a spouse to be. Rather, wealth and looks have become the new basis on which they ascertain if a person is the will of God. Knowing and accepting the will of God is the sweetest thing you would ever do as a child of God. His will and plans for us can never be bad, and because His love is too great for us, He cannot lead you into something that would destroy you. The book of Romans chapter 12 verse 2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, this age, fashioned after and adapted to its external superficial customs, but be transformed, changed by the entire renewal of your mind, by its new ideals and its new attitude, so that you may prove for yourselves what is the good and acceptable and perfect will of God, even the thing which is good and acceptable and perfect in His sight for you." His will are always perfect for us. With the number of failed marriages that we have in the world today, I know it's not going to be your wish to have yours included in it. Don't make the mistake of settling with just anyone. Be sure it's the will of God for you. When you settle with the wrong partner, you only block your God-ordained spouse that He has kept for you from ever getting to you. Forever is too long to be with the wrong person. Now that you're still single and searching, take your time to pray that God sends you your ordained spouse. Number 3, using sex as a means to get your spouse. This is more common with the female gender. They make this mistake in the search of a spouse. They think sex is a good tool that you can use to attract and keep a man. But beloved, a man who is made for you and ordained by God knows that your body is a sanctuary and a temple of the highest God. He would not be willing to touch it. In the world today, sex is being seen as a normal thing, but as believers, know that it's just a lie from the pits of hell. God is not going to send you someone into your life that is going to be after your body as your ordained spouse. So please be guided and don't allow anyone to deceive you. The Bible, speaking in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 15 says, "Food is intended for the stomach and the stomach for food, but God will finally end the functions of both and bring them to nothing. The body is not intended for sexual immorality, but is intended for the Lord, and the Lord is intended for the body, to save, sanctify, and raise it again." Your body is intended for the Lord and not for sexual immorality. Apart from the fact that sexual immorality is a sin, it also makes God withhold your ordained spouse because clearly you're not yet ready for marriage. It blocks that partner from getting to you. It also reduces your self-respect. No good man will be willing to be with someone who does not have respect and pride in her own body. Offering a would-be spouse sex would not keep a man with you. You need more than that, so stop making this mistake, dear single ladies. You are only blocking your God-ordained spouse from getting to you, and the more you delay in this area, the more you would wait before finally he comes for you. So get it right now. Number 4. Setting unrealistic expectations. This has also been a problem, and it is still a mistake that singles make until today. They go ahead to set unrealistic standards for the kind of spouse they want to have without even including God in the picture. They are not certain about what God thinks is best for them. I hear singles say, I want a man who's tall, dark, handsome, and also has money. Trust me, I'm not saying it's bad to have big expectations or big dreams, but the only problem that I have with this is that what if that is not the will of God for you? Because of the love of looks and money, many singles have fallen for the wrong partners. It has clouded their judgment so much that even when the right person is standing just before them, they don't see it or refuse to see it. The more you have unrealistic expectations, the more you're blocking your God-ordained spouse from coming into your life. There is so much you would enjoy when you just pray and trust God's definition of a spouse for you. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you should not have the definition of what you want from a spouse. The only thing I'm saying is, are they realistic? Do they matter? It's very good to have a partner that complements your life, but are you sure that standard you set is realistic? Let me ask you, are you sure that you're not focusing just on material possession and status, forgetting the truly important things in life and a spouse? Are you sure the ideal mate that you're looking for is not just found in fairy tales and movies and in real life? When you're truly able to answer these questions, you can be sure. You know now your mistakes and you are ready to make amends. Everyone loves a fairy kind of spouse, but trust me, we only have 1% of them in the world, and the rest are only existing in movies. Don't put too much emphasis on perfection, because apart from Jesus, who is eternal, no human is perfect. Don't be using your judgment to block your God-ordained spouse from coming into your life. Don't make this common mistake and lose the one that is meant for you. Get it right now. You have now to correct all these mistakes before it's too late, and the time of your youth would have passed, and when you turn back and look at your life, you would just be full of regret. There is nothing you can do to put your mind to it. You are capable of changing that attitude, the way you think, and you can still correct all of these mistakes. Forever is a beautiful place created by God, and it's His wish for you to meet your ordained spouse. But before that, you need to be prepared. So stop making all these mistakes that block your spouse from coming to you and allow Christ have His will in your life. His thought and His will for you are good, and He would surely bring you to your expected end.